But ladies and gentlemen, we have to go out to the West Coast because we need our West Coast correspondent to bring in a man who was there when they planted that big tree at Harding Park. He was there. He was there at the Olympic Club many, many times. And, of course, he was there at the Original Joe's in San Jose, where he grew up and became a basketball legend in and around the Bay Area and, of course, at UNLV. The great Gary Radnich, still resting comfortably in retirement away from the media mess that he left not that long ago. Gary, how are you, man?
Good, Tony. You think this is resting comfortably? I'm waiting for Chuck Schumer to start talking again. The hell is this? I spend more time, in fact, it's my wife's birthday, but you're spending more time waiting for Jake Tapper to smile and Chuck Schumer to take his mask off. It's
wow.
terrible, you know?
Gary Radnich sitting at home. His wife, Alicia, by the way. Happy birthday, Alicia. Now, Robin called you this morning to get you on the show. She calls you at 8 o'clock in the morning.
8 o'clock in the morning, I was whispering sweet nothings into my wife's ear, and because Tony, when you get a call that early, what the first thing you go, geez, it's one of my older kids, or something's going wrong. And I'll be honest with you, Robin will tell you, I said, geez, it's Alicia's birthday, and a little bit later we're going to take a little drive up north, but. So I said, gee, I didn't want to insult her, right? It's your wife's birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to take a break from Schumer and Tapp. And she goes, no, it's Tony. So, okay, so not that you're getting anything great, but the point is I'm appearing courtesy of Alicia on her birthday.
Well, happy birthday, Alicia. And, are you driving up to Harding Park to see how it looks out there? What are the conditions, Gary? Because Harry Mays is doing his show remotely from his home because he had a lot of weather problems. He's a big golf guy, and everybody just assumes you're a golf guy, Gary. But I know Art Spander's a golf guy, and there's a lot of great folks in the Bay Area. But are you going to Harding Park? And by the way, how are they looking out there?
Tony, no offense. Okay, I'm white. I'm a little heavier than I should be, and I got nice slacks. That doesn't mean I like golf. Is Harry on the line?
Yes, Harry, we got a big PGA championship question for Gary Radnich. He's live, and I love it when we used to do this all the time, Gary, when we did the thing every day on KNBR. How are they looking out there, Gary?
Harry, how are you?
I'm doing great, Gary. I got my white pants on and my white belt.
Yeah, let me say something, and I want it in a very nice way. If they're not going to allow anybody to come out and watch it, who the hell cares? No, to think about that, Tony. All these sports, and I just hope to gosh, for the sake of the sports, it eats up some time back and forth. But if they don't allow fans in, I don't know. It's hard to get juiced up, isn't it?
But you turn it on TV, Gary. You sit back, you relax. You know the area. You know Harding Park. You know the Olympic Club. These are national shrines to golf out there in the West Coast.
Well, I thought you were going to say national treasure. Thank you. And Jimenez, thank you. A national treasure. No, it's they're going to play, and Tony, they're about. I'm actually, to tell you the truth, I could run and get to Harding. I'm about 15 minutes away.
Harry, you're not getting this kind of up close, and even Rich Lerner and the Golf Channel guys aren't as close as Gary is.
Yeah. Because I watch Rich Lerner. I know he's a friend of yours. That's a tough spot to be in, that you're with a group of guys that you can't, I don't want to make you laugh, don't want to make you think that this is going overboard. So how is your putting? That's a tough spot to be in if you're Lerner. All these years. Well,
unless you're Harry. Harry has his own golf podcast, so he's a golf expert. So we turn to him for all, because Art Spander's not around, so we don't turn to Art right now. We always turn to Harry for golf.
Well, let me ask Harry, of all the guys that we've interviewed, all of us through the years, it is tough with golf guys, with very few exceptions. Aren't they the most difficult people to interview? Because it's just something about them. In general, that they don't want to cross the line and have too much fun. Is that it? And if you grow up in a country club setting, I don't think you're worried about what Charlie Gasparino says the stocks are doing.
No, you're right, Gary. They are pretty vanilla. They're very they're very politically correct, if you will, and it doesn't make for the greatest of a guest as far as a radio show goes.
And Harry, have you, to be honest, and then I'll get back to Tony, have you ever had a golf guest on and not had to kiss his ass just to get him to say hello?
Not well. Only my friends that are out on tour are the ones that I don't have to kiss their ass. Everybody else, you got to go through like 6 different channels of kissing ass to get to them.
Yeah, I don't mind kissing ass. I don't mind going through channels, but then when they get there, damn it, say something. But anyway, enough of that stuff.
Now, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, your PGA Championship preview right from San Francisco, right outside of Harding Park, with the great Gary Radinovich, the star in San Jose, and on his wife's birthday.
Tony, here's the PGA preview. What'd you talk about? Have to kiss too many of these guys' ass. Hey, by the way, I hear your guys' show is just going great.
Yes, it is, Gary. Thank you so much. People always ask me, they say, when we got to get Gary on again? And I say, well, Robin.
You're retired, though, Tony. If you're on, we had that great time. Every once in a while, he'd call me up, but I'd rather. I wanted to go out semi on top. You know, I didn't want to go where here he is again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's bring him in. You know, here's Jim Gray one more time. You know, he just don't want to do it. You know,
Now, Gary, of course, legend out there. You've been retired. That's over a year, right? Isn't it? It's been just over a year.
A year and a half, Tony.
Wow, but who's counting? So do you miss it, Gary? Do you miss seeing?
I think Alicia is counting.
Do you miss the daily camaraderie of being on the radio and and talking to Joe and Livermore and all the great folks in and around the Bay Area?
I still keep in touch. In fact, I just heard with the passing of our friend Ralph yesterday.
Yes.
I heard from our friend Johnny the Gout Man, who's still waiting for a little medical assistance. But how do you say it, Tone? The guys who you really want to keep in touch with, somehow you do.
Yeah, Johnny the Gout Man. I call him Johnny X. He has my phone number. We go back and forth, especially when the Cowboys lose during the football season. Nobody hates the Cowboys more than I do, except Johnny X. I think he really.
Say it, Tone. Since we started talking, I don't mean to interrupt that. I got the Clayman countdown on. We're now Dow is up and NASDAQ has recovered since we've been on.
Wow, that's unbelievable. You and Dean from Clearwater are the only 2 guys that sit at home during the day and watch the stock market and cable news. You got to get away from that noise. I know you're not supposed to go outside, and I know your governor out there will have you arrested, Gary, if you jump in the Bentley and start driving around without a mask on. Are you wearing a mask in your Bentley? Oh, that's right. You don't have the Bentley anymore, right?
No, but I've got Tony, as I told you before, Tony wants to paint me as a guy going backwards. No, I still got a long car. It's as long as the Bentley was. You know what I mean? So don't you dare. No, it's funny. I'll give you some political update. You know, our Governor Newsom is very close to Pelosi. I mean, they're like, neighbors.
Related. They're related in some way, aren't they?
Yeah, they're both trying to screw everybody. But the point is,
wow.
Yeah, no, Tony. Everybody's trying to screw everybody. Can I give you one political tip?
Absolutely. That's what we live for, Gary. We're all about politics.
Yeah. By the way, Tiger looks good on the driving range. But the point is,
let me get that. Harry, you just heard. Tiger looks good. Are you going with Tiger Woods or are you going Brooks Koepka, Harry Mays?
Well, I think I'm going to fade Tiger Woods because that weather's a little cool up there, and that tends to work on his back.
Wow, that's good knowledge. I'm going to say the one thing, Brooks Koepka's going to win one more tournament, then his ego's going to explode, and we're all going to think he's an a-hole. You know what I mean? he better not win. No, Tony, I was going to say, though, politically, right now in the mess we're in, you tell me, all you should care about is your family, and that's it. And then you stay sane.
I totally agree with you, Gary. I say it every day. Yeah. I go out very rarely. I went and saw my mom for her 96th birthday a couple of weeks ago. I went and saw my grandson about a month ago down in Maryland, my first grandson with my oldest son.
Good for you, man.
And so that's all I do. I don't do anything. I'm stuck inside. And I get people yell at me to wear masks and stuff.
But my point is to really care.
Yep.
It's a terrible way to live, I guess. But to really follow what's going on now and Trump and then the Democrats and back and forth, you go nuts if you really put your heart and soul into it. So, like I said, we're locked up in the house here, but fortunately I got good kids. And when I see that weather in New York, I'm glad Jolie, our daughter who goes to NYU, I'm glad she's home, and with all the murders in the street. So, by the way, Tom Watson just walked by.
Oh, Harry, Tom Watson. Now, Curtis Strange, by the way, Curtis Strange got off Twitter last week. Did you see that big story? He's had it with Twitter, Curtis Strange.
Is he still on ABC?
I don't even know. Is he still doing ABC? Harry?
I think his ego caught up to him too. No, Curtis Strange thought he was curing cancer too.
No, you're right about that.
No, he does. No, I had one instance with him, and it stuck with me. I said, Curtis, you got a minute? I guess when they had the U.S. Open here, and I said, you got a minute? He said, not really. Thank you. So I'm not a Curtis. When you're strange from the doors, not my thing.
People are strange when you're a stranger. That's the great.
Hey, I don't care about. But Toe, just agree with me on one thing. If of all we all can watch this stuff. We're all interested in who's going to win and back and forth. But as far as any real emotion and where your heart is, you keep it with your family, and you're better off. Because everybody's not out to screw them, but everybody's taking care of themselves. Any of these guys missing meals, Schumer or Mitch McConnell, they're not missing any meals.
No, but we have a picture up of your beautiful family there, Gary. And you talk about living the good life. And a man who's been places.
Thank you, Kanye West.
Thank you.
Yes, all right. The good life. You like that?
By the way, it was Tony Bennett's birthday yesterday. Still kicking. Speaking about for the good times, right? Wasn't that one of his great songs?
He's got that young wife. She's saying, "Get your ass out on stage. I don't care if you're going to die. Sing one more time." They'll give us $10,000 at the Fairmont. Get out there. Yeah, poor guy. They had a thing in San Francisco, Tone, when they first the coronavirus first hit, and it was called, one of the socialites here did a thing that said, "Come on out, and we'll have Tony Bennett sing 'I Left My Heart in San Francisco,' right?" Mm-hmm. And this will be like a tribute to hey, San Francisco, and we're not, we may be partially closed up, but we're still alive. We're still this. We're still that. Nobody cared. Nobody went. You know what I mean?
They didn't go?
Well, no, it's Tony.
As the great John, we have Johnny the Gout Man. Johnny, here's what Johnny X would say.
Nobody cared.
Nobody cared. And then we have Gary in the machine.
Who does that? Who has time?
No, but I laugh about Bennett because, he's an all-time great. But you can't at 94 just say, come out and start singing. And Jesus criminy. It's like the end of Dean Martin, Tone. I don't know if I've ever told you this. Dean Martin would do the same show. I saw him when I was in Vegas. And playing ball there. He did the dinner show and the evening show. And he comes out and says the same thing. How much time do I have left? Everybody loves somebody. The same,
Exactly. That's why I don't understand how these people do like 3 shows a night in Vegas when they have to do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, well, they're knocking them down now. It's only like one big spectacular show now. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Like when Brittany and Cher and your Democratic friend Bette Midler get out there. It's usually like one big show.
Exactly.
Anyway, by the way, as Tom Watson again, still nobody's recognized him. But anyway, that's another story.
Gary Radnich joining us from San Francisco. Gary, the story yesterday afternoon, we found out. I saw it on the wires and the West Coast. Ralph Barbieri, one of the legendary figures in San Francisco radio. We got to know him. You worked with him for a long time, all those years at KNBR on the afternoon show.
Ralph got me started, Tony. I was on the air because of Ralph.
I did not know that part of the story. So Ralph Barbieri, longtime broadcaster. He did the afternoons with Tom Tolbert for, 25 years.
Very successful.
Absolutely.
No, Tony, it's funny just to get my own 2 cents in, but because I was all on TV for like 7-8 years, and then Ralph would always have me on, and, just to fill a little time, and I'd come on between between your hits on television, and that was like the running gag. I said, Ralph, can you finish the question? I'm on again in 5 minutes, because he would go on and on. Everybody likes to say they're an original, but he really was original. Nobody lived like him. Nobody did his shows like that. He had a voice that was not meant for radio, but he was a smart guy. And at the end of the day, he had a big following. He's a tough guy to replace there. I don't think they've ever been able to replace him on that station.
No doubt about it. And one of my favorite Tom Tolbert and Razor and Mr. T stories when I was doing the bocce back in the day, and we were out at the Campo de Bocce down in not in Los Gatos. We were down in the one in down the other part.
You were giving back to the community via Steve Mariucci?
Pleasanton?
No, what was the other campo, the Campo de Bocce? There's two of them. The first one...
No, well, wasn't there one in, like, Saratoga, Los
No,
Gatos?
Los Gatos.
Oh,
Los Gatos.
Yeah.
So that was one of the first Steve Mariucci, John Madden bocce tournaments.
Yeah.
And so I go down there, and I'm in San Francisco doing stuff on KNBR. And so it was the afternoon show, Ralph Barberry, Tom Tolbert on the air. John Madden and I started doing play-by-play of bocce live on KNBR 680, the sports leader.
Wow.
One of the highlights of my career.
Oh, I remember. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, it was very fun. You were in L.A. then.
Yeah, and I came up to be
Yeah.
with John Albanese and all the great gang up there, and Steve Mariucci and Coach Madden. And I was down there, and then John Madden said, hey, let's do some play-by-play. So I did the play-by-play, and John
great.
Madden did the color on live bocce on Afternoon Drive Radio. And I don't think it's ever been done again, Gary.
Well, and some would say for good reason, but the point is, no, you were, Tony, people loved you here. They can't, in fact, the best one is what they wanted to throw out the first puck.
Yeah, I went down. Yeah, I was going to drop the puck in the Shark Tank. I've thrown out the first pitches. I'm no Dr. Fauci, Gary. I can actually get it over the plate.
Yeah, hey, Harry, you want to hear a good one, though? The only thing is I really wanted, I love Tony. In fact, like I kid with Tony last time, I'll say it again. I don't work locally anymore. It's only on the Bruno show, you know what I mean? That local crap, you can kiss it. But with Tony, I said, come on, Tony. He says, well, I don't know if I can come up, this and that. I said, hey, I just threw it out there. I said, hey, I'll contribute. I'll pay for the plane ticket. And the son of a bitch took me up on it, Harry. The hell?
Gary, right now there were two compos. The original one was Los Gatos, same ownership group.
Yes.
And the one in Livermore we played at as well. So they're two great places. I don't know why we don't have more of those.
Yes.
Not Joe from Livermore, who's on the line, and Dirty Feet in San Jose checks in on the show now, Harry.
Yeah,
Gary?
30 feet, I'm trying to think. In fact, Tony, when the last time I was on, some guy did a nice article on it. I didn't even know. Guy for the Mercury News. Oh, God, I can't. But nice guy. And I think the headline was "No More Joe in Livermore" or something.
Yes,
exactly. Did you see that one? It was pretty good.
Yeah, no, I see all the articles because anytime my name is mentioned, so Robin has this... These, what do you call it, Robin?
Google Alert.
Google Alert. So if my name's mentioned in some fringe article in Beaumont, Texas, they send me the story, and I get it.
Yeah, well, that's what scares Alicia. Anytime I see my name, now that I'm retired, I get excited. So anyway.
Well,
And of course,
speaking of Alicia,
I want to say the last thing about Ralph Barberry, the Razor, and unfortunately what happened, we all knew he was suffering from Parkinson's, and so when his contract was up, I guess one of the last contract he was signing, they didn't bring him back, and there was a lawsuit and all that other stuff, which happens in the business, unfortunately. And that was the saddest thing for me to see is, Ralph Barberry not being able to go out on his own terms, because most of us can't do that, Gary. You work at a radio station, your last day, they don't even remember you existed there.
Yeah, well, the good news to that, and like I said, I'm not saying I was, the closest guy to Ralph, but I knew him fairly well enough, and that was... to just converse with them a little bit, and I want to say this in the right way. Besides the fact that Ralph was suffering from Parkinson, they had new management come in, and they didn't know that or didn't feel how much Ralph meant to the Bay Area and what he had accomplished, and they had some old guy come in here, and I did this joke yesterday, but. This guy was so old, they thought instead of giving him severance, we'll send him out to run the station in San Francisco. Maybe he dies, and we don't have to pay him. You know what I mean? So...
Well, honestly, Gary, that's the same thing that they did for between the segment of you and Tony.
Exactly.
They
changed management.
They
changed management. They bring in some guy from another company, from the same company but in another market, and they bring him down. The old days of the great Tony Salvador, and those days are long gone in this business, where you knew the general manager, you knew the program director, and you had a relationship with them.
Tony was told, I'm sure you were told the same thing, Gary, that they determined that nobody was really interested in that segment anymore. They were going, it was just two old guys talking for 30 minutes.
Robin, I think here's what it was. Now we're talking about after 17 years. But this guy had no allegiance to us, that's number one. And number two, everything's going to a two-man show. So they were going to bring in a guy to work with me. And if you have me and Tony, killing it for the last half hour, then it makes the other thing look diluted. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hear you. Plus, we get older.
I don't know, but I'm saying that played a role. And, and again, what the hell's the difference? But, Tony, you're right. It's a whole – that's why you guys are rolling. The local stuff, heck, for 15 years, that's where I made my bread and butter was on local TV, doing the sports, and that is, you know what I mean? It's down to a couple of kids reading 2-1, 3-2, and so all this stuff's going away, but you're at the forefront of something, your own deal, and it's great, Tony.
Well, breaking news, Gary. I know this is the kind of stuff that you probably haven't seen yet on CNBC or Fox Business. Tiffany Haddish and Common are now officially dating, Gary. Your thoughts, as you would always like to say.
Well, I'd like to know what happened to Angela Rye. She was with Common for a while.
See, Gary, nobody knows. Yeah. Nobody knows their hip-hop and R&B connections better than Gary Rye.
You're well connected. Your last two girls, you had one from Puerto Rico and two black women. But, Harry, you knew Angela Rye, right?
Of course.
Yeah, well, what happened? No, I'm seriously, Tony, I just saw her on with Chris Cuomo the other night, and she was talking about how her life's turned around. Is this official? Do we have a pregnancy or anything that...
I don't know, but they're on Steve-O's podcast, Wild Ride, and she is confirmed today. This is hot breaking news, Harry. You're not... Harry and Gary, even Gary and Harry. Tiffany Haddish opened up about her relationship with Common on the Steve-O podcast, Gary.
All right. Well, listen, again, Harry, is there any way you can find out in the next minute what Angela Rye is doing? Tony, she was a big political commentator.
I know, she's yelling on CNN. That's what they do over there. They're doing all these news channels, Gary.
Yeah, she was mad when somebody whispered in her ear, said it's a kind of a dull segment. You got about another 30 seconds to call Trump a racist or we're cutting you off. You know what I mean?
See what happens? You go on CNN, you scream with the Cuomo brothers, and then Common dumps your ass for Tiffany Haddish.
I'm shocked at that. How would you like to be, though, in all due respect, with, Common used to date Serena Williams, too. Are you aware of that?
Well, he's Common. He's not really Common. I don't know why he didn't change his name to Uncommon, man.
Yeah, you want somebody, though, that is Tiffany Haddish. You got to spend your whole day trying to make people laugh, and you got to come home and, okay, now concentrate on me. That's pretty rough. I don't know. Especially if Common hasn't written a song in a while, has he?
No, he's been in a lot of movies. He's great in movies. He's a good actor.
Gary,
I saw him in that movie with Queen Latifah when... the basketball movie. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah, and he was in the John Wick, I think the first John Wick, where he and Keanu Reeves fight to the death in a subway train.
He's in a good series now called The Shot.
No, I'm not saying, but I think Common's best acting job is in that basketball movie when he had to pretend that Queen Latifah was interested in him. But anyway.
Now, Gary, I do have an Angela Rye update.
Who has time?
Exactly.
Okay.
Angela Rye said that she had to move on from the relationship because she wanted to have children and he did not, and they just wanted different things, so she decided to move on.
It happens. It happens.
Geez, I hate to say it, Angela Rye's about 50. Huh? If you're going to have kids, you'd have one by now, wouldn't you?
Exactly right. See, these are the kinds of stories that Gary and I used to do every day, Harry Mays, as you well remember. This is why our segment wasn't just about, hey, what about Gabe Kapler and that decision he made in the 10th inning the other night?
Well, Tony, let me just say something. Oh, Gabe Kapler kneeled. You know what would be better instead of him kneeling? Get more than one black guy on the team.
Oh, you know what I mean? Exactly right. Hey, listen.
And they sent him down to the minors, so right now, unless I'm mistaken, the Giants on their 40-man have no African Americans. So, hey, listen, do what you got to do.
I'll fly out there in March if you want to march on the Giants organization. If you want to march down to whatever, Pac Bell, AT&T, whatever they're calling it now, Oracle Arena, Oracle Park, I don't know what they call it, Gary. We may have to do a march down there.
Let me tell you something, in a nice way, they got nobody I've heard on the team. I don't think I'd even waste my march on the Giants. I'd find a team that's interesting, you know?
Wow.
Tony, there's nobody you know there. Posey sniffed it out ahead of time, and he's taking the year off. There's, when Evan Longoria gets your palms wet, that's it,
Don't forget Poppy the Kanda at third base.
Oh, Poppy, you're bad.
Panda.
Poppy from Dan. What's his
Dan Levitard. I put it up on the poll, Guillermo. Gary Radnich, say happy birthday to Alicia, Gary. It's always great catching up. Yes.
Let me just say, Harry, good news. We're out of the red on the NASDAQ. We're all green, baby.
That's exactly. Now I can retire finally. Gary Radnich, ladies and gentlemen, he's the best. San Francisco Bay Area icon, and they love him in San Jose and, of course, at UNLV. Gary, great to talk to you, man. We'll talk to you soon, I hope. There he is.